This is Paige
and Monique,
and we are Sacred Potential,
where we like to talk about the overlap of faith, creativity, and possibility.
In today's topic, we're talking about faith and art.
Yeah, which we're very excited about.
Very excited. I'm also excited that we're just recording this and we're not on camera. Can I just keep it real? Hey guys.
Same here. Completely different look for me.
It's just a nice vibe. We have candles and everything.
Exactly.
All around us. So tell me, Mo, like what's your idea of faith and art?
What's your idea of faith and art?
I asked you first.
Ooh,
okay.
I know, but I just don't want to start where it says right away where it's just me talking again.
Okay, well, no, okay.
So let's talk about faith and art.
In general.
Yeah, well, I mean, what does that mean to you? Like when you hear that, when we talk about it, like how do you, what does it make you think of?
Well, it's like, actually, to be honest, what it really makes me think of is like, what would this world be like if we didn't have art? Because I feel like in some ways, faith comes out of art. Like art, it's like it attracts art, or rather, art attracts faith, or vice versa. So yeah, I was just having this thought to myself. I was like, what would this world be like? What would we as individuals be like if there was no such thing as art?
Have you ever seen that meme? And I have it somewhere. It says, "Without art, Earth would just be eh."
You guys, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and it has the word Earth, and then art is like
yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love that. No, I never heard of that before.
Yeah, I'll find it and send it to you.
But what about you? Like your idea of faith and art when you think of faith and art?
Well, I think in terms of that God is the creator and we are co-creators. So anything that I think we've talked about this in another episode, that anything that we create is somehow reflecting, if we are intentional about it, or not if we're intentional. I mean, there's a lot of people maybe who are creating beautiful things and they don't realize it's reflecting God.
Yeah.
To me, it's that we're creative because God is creator. And I also think of this beautiful image that this guy, Josh Butler, that I knew in Portland, Oregon, who's gone on to write all these books and stuff. But anyway, he was just such a great thinker and just had all these great things that he would say. And I was always writing down things. But anyway, he gave this image of creativity and creating for humans. It's kind of like he gave the image of God as creator and Christ as God stepping into his own painting. So and I just remember Josh doing this like almost like drawing back, like pulling open these like curtains or something and stepping into his own creation in order to engage with it. And then it makes me think of, it would be like if an author was able to step into the book that he wrote and interact with the characters.
Is awesome.
Do you know what I mean? Like if I think about like Charles Dickens or somebody, like imagine if he could enter into like Oliver Twist or something and interact with those characters, which is really interesting because a lot of those characters, when you think about like books that people have written, come from their own experiences, people that they knew or things that happened to them.
Yeah.
So, so I just feel like that Jesus is coming into his own creation to interact with it, to love his own creation, to die for his own creation, to show his own creation how to live. And
that just also, it's exciting because when you think about it, even going deeper, it's like, we now have an opportunity to be like him
in other people's lives.
Exactly.
And in the world.
So every day is a painting. Every day is like, is art being lived out.
Yeah.
And just the idea of that, it's like, that's so exciting. Oh, that's beautiful. What's the guy's name again?
Joshua Butler.
Josh Butler.
I
love that.
Yeah. He's probably got books on Amazon I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That also makes me kind of think about, because just the idea of, stepping into a painting, stepping into a film, stepping into a book or something. And it's, there is this scene in this movie, American Beauty, that I love. and it's a scene where the guy is sitting with this girl that he likes, and he's an artist. He's like a videographer, and he just shoots videos just randomly. And then one day they were just sitting watching a paper bag blowing in the wind, and it was so beautiful because you can literally see. I think it was a plastic bag actually. You can literally see the bag was dancing, and it was just interesting because. What I was fascinated by, because every time I see the scene, it literally makes me emotional. It makes me cry. And for the first time, I watched it recently on YouTube. And one of my favorite things about YouTube is the comment section. Hint, hint. Please feel free to comment.
Yeah.
And there were the comments that were being written were very interesting. Some of them that I pulled out. There was one person was like, I remember breaking down in the theater when I saw this. Like source energy, God, showing me an affirmation of who I am. Almost embarrassing to feel so closely attached to a character in a movie who knew something secret about me, a magic that I refuse to never stop learning. No matter how many lifetimes that takes, it's infinite. And it was like a lot. It was a lot of different people saying things about, it's like, oh, I'm not even like a religious person, but it felt like, oh my gosh, there's God involved in it. It was just really interesting because this one scene, I don't whether or not it was intentional, who knows, but it caused this type of a reaction. And it was art. It was like this dancing plastic bag, and it was just an amazing scene. I highly recommend that if you guys don't know
what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you guys
and
haven't
that's what beauty does.
Yeah.
Beauty stirs, like C.S. Lewis and a lot of great writers write about this, that beauty is like it's like God's trademark. It's like what draws the soul to God, because it's like there's like something unspoken that words cannot. There's no words for it, but there's something there that is pulling at a person. Same thing with anything, with paintings or music, or like when it's just like you're listening to something, it's like you're just having a spiritual experience by listening to some beautiful sounds put together.
Gosh.
And just also the fact that so many of the great artists, this is one of the things I love to think about, is how so many of the great artists throughout history had a deep faith in God. And that just in more recent times, it seems that people started to remove God from the equation and act like their gifts and talents were their own doing rather than gifts, or just kind of forget the source of their gifts. Because I feel like for me, using my gifts is a form of gratitude.
Yes.
It's like after being given all this, I want to do something good with the gifts.
That idea is so nice. It's so pretty. It's so lovely to think about it that way.
Yeah.
It's a form of gratitude, and it's also a form of glorifying God.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just like it's so funny because to think about when you create, because you have a creator, so naturally you create, and you're so it's so exciting to, like you said, if it's intentional or it just because it's a part of your fabric, it's a part of your being, you're going to create, and just
and that we're made in the image of God.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And just how that something can move and minister to people in so many different ways. I have a friend who I remember, she did a painting of this little girl, and it was an experience. It was therapeutic for her. She did this painting, and it was something that happened to her as a little girl. But after she put it up somewhere, and someone saw it, and they bawled their eyes out because it connected. They
spoke to them.
Exactly. And it's just so interesting how what we do is so much bigger than us. Exactly. It's kind of like, we're doing it just to kind of like, I need to get this out. This is in me, but it's like there's somebody else that's going to be moved and touched by it as well.
And that, it makes me think of the idea that, I forget who said it, but they talk about it in writing, how like the thing that you're most afraid to write about or talk about, write about that thing, because whatever is most personal is also most universal.
Oh my God.
So if there's like a shame story you have and you're like, oh gosh, I don't want to share that, whatever, or it's like, let's say it's something you're going to put in your book or in your screenplay or something, or in a song, and you're like, I don't want it, because you think you're going to be judged, but actually that's what sets other people free, is they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one.
It's almost like your art can be an answer to a prayer.
Yeah.
To someone's prayer.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's like, it's like in a case like this, if you don't want to do it because let's look beyond you and think about somebody you can be blessing.
Yep, exactly, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I always think about like, what if someone is going to name off some people, some great artists who had deep faith in God, and I just think, what if these people had never like shared their art, or they had never followed through on the gifts they had been given, like how deprived the world would be. Yeah. So obviously Van Gogh, if you want to do it right, but anyway, Van Gogh, Rembrandt, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Rumi, Bach, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Madeleine L'Engle, Lizzie Siddall, who was a pre-Raphaelite sister, George MacDonald, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Dorothy Sayers, like on and on and on and on and on. And then just now think about like all the filmmakers and people right now in this time in history, like all these people that are making, like Peter Jackson, just people that are making stuff that is steeped in faith. Even if, I don't even know if Peter Jackson believes in God or not, but Tolkien definitely did, who wrote Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So the fact that someone else can pick up from a work that someone else did and then continue to create beauty out of that with their gifts. Yeah. So incredible. So incredible.
I just love it. It's like, you guys, it's just art in general, the blessing that it is, the faith that can be found within it. Feel free to let us know any artists, or even if you, because we're all artists, we
want, and also always feel free, if you've done something or you have a link or something, to share it in the YouTube comments, so then other people can click on your work. Yes, for real. So we can, we really want to help other people's stuff also be heard, seen, and known.
We're all about that life.
So just some closing thoughts. Something that I was thinking about is like, what about when gifts lie latent? What happens when people don't use their gifts, or they're just kind of there inside and they're not coming out? Like what happens there? And like, what about that? What about those? Like what goes on, and what, not just why is that happening, but like what is going on for that to happen? Because I know people talk a lot about writer's block and stuff like that, which personally I don't believe in writer's block. I just think there's like other things that are going on that it's not writer's block. Yeah. But I just feel that a lot of times either people are in the midst of trauma, or they haven't worked through trauma, or there's just something going on in their lives that is holding them back. Yeah. Sometimes it can be fear, but sometimes it can be just things they're going through. Sometimes it can be a job.
Oh, sorry. What?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Yeah, it could be just some situation that is making it hard to have energy for that. Yeah. So we just want to invite you to, if that's the case for you, if there's something that's keeping you from the things that you're supposed to be doing, or that you feel is draining you or is making it very hard, then take steps to get yourself out of those situations, to walk away from certain situations, to just put yourself in the best headspace possible so that you can create. And we have something that we would love to invite you to. Yep. That I've been doing for a while. I started having these here in Berlin, but now that everybody's everywhere with the internet in terms of webinars and things like this, because of the times we're in, and everybody's inside and there's Zoom, and everybody's really good now at getting online and interacting online with things. So I've been running a faith and arts group for a few years at least, and would often do topics like, we did one on Van Gogh and his spirituality. We did one on, I've done several writing, little mini workshops for writing, but always with God, with Christ at the center. Yeah. And, but we invite you to come if you're like, you don't really know, considering yourself somebody that believes in Christ, but you're a seeker and you're like somebody who really engages spiritually. Just know that you're totally safe there and nothing weird goes on. Everybody is totally non-judgmental and just wants to create and wants to wants to interact with God.
Yeah.
And so anyways, but we're having a meetup coming up. We're going to be posting it in the link. It will be in this link. The date will be on there and everything.
Yeah.
And it's a meetup through meetup.com. You can either sign up through Meetup. All you have to do is sign up for an account on there. It's free. And then you just register, and there'll be a Zoom link, and you will come to the call, and it will be all about faith and art. It will be all about inspiring you to do the things that you are meant to do, getting you to start really working on your gifts and seeing where you can put them out there into the world, helping you to get past fear, all these kinds of things. And
you guys,
if you want,
it's so satisfying. Like, seriously, it's something I highly, highly recommend you be a part of. And it's just nice to also engage with other people and just to discuss art, and just to be around creativity is always a joy for anybody, really.
Yeah. And it feeds, like, everybody kind of feeds each other's, there's things that one person might be like, yeah, they feel like they're not very good at, or they feel like I don't know if I can. And then just being in an environment that is safe and that is welcoming and that is encouraging. It's amazing the things that have come out of that group that I've been doing, where people start doing things and doors start opening up for them, and little things that and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome to see. It's so
rewarding.
Yeah. So please come. We will definitely make it a time that is sort of like time neutral, so that it's like, if you're on the East Coast in the States, you're on the Pacific Coast, or you're in Europe, that it's a time that could hopefully work for anybody that wants to come. And
it will be on planet Earth.
It will be on this planet, as far as we know at this time. And but we hope that you come, and we just want you to think about, as we sign off, sort of a closing question is, why is it so important to use your gifts?
Please,
so just
feel
leave
free,
you with that.
Go into the comments and let us know. Until then, thank you guys for joining. And
thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for those who comment, those who send us emails, and those who subscribe.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it, and it really helps us to get more of this kind of content out there onto YouTube, because YouTube is very picky in terms of what pops up in people's feeds. So the more likes and things people get, the more we get, the more that we can get our channel out there.
That is correct.
So we love you guys. Thank you for being here.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.